Thursday. It is a Thursday, my dudes. I forgot to take the heater. I'm mad about that. So I'm gonna see actually if I can find that other heater. It's right there. Oh, there she blows. There she blows. Hey, Kelver, how's it going? And whoever the random person is. Oh, yeah, okay. Today is actual get work done today, which is something that I've been neglecting a lot lately. So, it's going to get loud. It's going to be loud for a while because I got sanding to do. Lots and lots of sanding to do. Lots and lots of sanding to do. So I'm going to get on that. I'm actually going to switch these over really quick so I can actually read the chat. No, Kelvin, this is not a new sanding machine. This is the same sanding machine that I had, just I had to replace the bit on it because, okay. I don't think you're actually doing anything. But this is the, same drill press that we've had forever and ever. Yeah. This is the same machine that I've sanded on this entire time. If you've been here for any of my sanding sessions. I just have it on the table now so you guys can like see what we're doing here a little bit better. And bro, you don't have to tell me twice. Yesterday, no, gloves are, well, let me finish that thought. Yesterday, I already dipped my fingers a couple of times, but if I'm sanding too much and then it slips up, then I'll hit my finger on the sanding disc here, and it'll give me a little bit of an abrasive burn. But I don't want to use gloves because my hands are too, or this is too fine of work. So I don't think I'd be able to get the fine exact work I need to do if I had gloves on. But that doesn't mean I'm not being careful. That's actually what this is. This yellow piece right here is just the bit for it, and I'm sanding discs, which actually, no, it's still good. So I got sanding discs here that I put right onto here, and that's what I'm sanding on. I wish this thing had more of a rigid bottom to it, because it's more of a like rubber bit on the bottom, so it like deforms when you're pushing up. But if it was metal or some sort of harder plastic, it would hurt even more if I nipped myself on it, so I'd rather just not. Oh, yeah, that's the old way I used to do it. I know what you're talking about. That was the clay turners. Turntable. Fuck. My oldness is betraying me. Yeah, so that's what I used before. And I would use that still. Alright, if we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about this. Inhale the dice, become the dice. Yeah, so a turntable is what I used to use a lot for this. But it gave me harder carpal tunnel. Because instead of doing this, which I'm using my arms to push up on, I would be doing this, which is just my wrist pushing down. So then all of this would cramp up. And it's not that big of a deal when you're doing a few sets here and there, but this isn't even a quarter of what I'm sanding here. I have a whole other bucket over there. So this saves a lot more pain. The big downside is, as Apris has mentioned, it throws around more dust, which is why the vacuum is here to absorb or to vacuum in most of the dust. Nope, you're not interrupting, Kelver. Don't even say that. I only sat down like 10 minutes ago. So, I do this now because it's a lot easier for me to push up than to push down. And it throws around a lot more dust, which is why I have the vacuum here. But without this vacuum, shit would go everywhere. And for Apris, if that was still the case, I would use goggles and a mask, because it's unbearable to be like sitting here trying to sand this and shit getting all over the place. But the vacuum sucks up any of the fine particulate and any of the not fine particulate. I don't know if you guys can see, but it falls down here. So, um, having some sort of like face shield on this would be pretty cool, but anything that goes on my face while I have these headphones on is not necessarily good. It's kind of like way back in the day when miners, and even still now, miners get black lung because their safety equipment is available, but it definitely doesn't work as well as people want it to be. So I could use gloves, and I could use a mask, and I could use goggles and stuff like that, but it would be much worse, I think, in terms of the final product. Because I would have less control, less ability to see what I'm doing. Also, I really like this method of sanding, other than the turntable sanding, because I can now, without hurting my hands, sand every single side of a die, and it doesn't take very long. See, so here is what I'm doing, sanding off the little nub on the 10 space, and that's mandatory, getting it flat, and then from this point on, look how fast that was. Which, sanding all the faces of the die makes it a lot more uniform and smooth. Sounds like you need sand parties as much as paint parties. So I thought about that actually, and I've tried to do that before. I tried doing that before, but then teaching people how to sand is much harder than teaching people how to paint. So I would rather, what I did instead is change the way that I sand so that it's a lot faster and easier for me to sand. So with this new method that I have, I don't think it's necessarily needed that we do sanding parties. But it was something I thought of. And as I mentioned before, probably lacerated shot. Yes. Some of my dice, I have no shame in telling you guys that they are incredibly sharp. I want them to be that way. It really is. Some of the dice that I've made is incredibly hard, incredibly sharp. You know, I like that idea. I like that idea because, you know, a lot of the times I get when I'm at my booth You know, a lot of people saying, oh, I don't have a use for dice. You know, I used to play, but like I don't anymore. So, you know, what would I use dice for? And I'm like, well, first of all, you don't have to play with dice actively to enjoy them. They're still beautiful. They're still pretty. And cool things to have, but you can also use these guys for a variety of different things if you are smart enough to do so. And that right there is a smart enough use for it. If your kids disagree on something, roll a d20 and let the fates decide. Another common one is using a d20 to decide what you want to do for dinner. Like, you can use dice for a lot of things to help your life and decision making. It doesn't have to necessarily just be for playing Dungeons and Dragons or any other tabletop game. But that's not something that I thought about, and I think I'm going to use that moving forward. Yeah, one of my friends, he uses it for when his kids disagree on something. They roll, and whoever gets highest wins, and they go with their way. People telling me they couldn't use random chance in their life, like, what do you really honestly have that same argument every night with your girl? What are you going to do for dinner? Because after a couple weeks of that, you get real fucking tired of it, and it's time to start rolling a die for it. I have a very strong feeling that everybody could use a sense of random chance in their lives. That's trial by combat. Well, yeah. We honestly should be adding a sense of trial by combat to the group somehow. Oh, see, that was a nip my finger right there. Oh. That sending disc is done for. Like, we have a couple of battle games that we choose to do in a day or during a time slot, and then we ask people to champion it. And whoever wins, wins, and that's the game that we play. No, championing it like you take up its cause. So if you really want to play alpha archetype, then you're like, yes, I will fight for alpha archetype. Not like the old sense of the word. Fight your own fight, bro. No, Kelver, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying pick a champion and fight for you. I'm stating, hey, you really want to play Alpha Archetype? Here, now you're its champion. You fight for it for this round, and if you win against whoever chose the other game, then that's the game that we play. That's what I was saying. Like, you're literally picking up the standard of that game that you want to play, and you're basically fighting your own fight. Yeah. We're not playing Pokemon. On a completely off note, I like sanding these guys smooth because after it goes through the polishing process. Oh, the negative lapse thing. Oh, that makes sense. I like the idea of having every single side smooth of my dice because it just looks better. But at the same time, I also like the idea of having imperfections in my dice too, just to show people that, hey, these are actually handmade and not just store-bought shit you can find anywhere else. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I also want to point out, guys, that this is all I'm basically going to be doing today. Apris is going to be coming here at like 3 o'clock or so to help me do a lot more cleaning. But yeah, this is what we're doing today. I was talking with Apris before I came to the Forge today. Thinking about maybe on Friday, after I get any of my work done, I might want to do a Jackbox day where we'll just play online. And I'll let the guys know tomorrow if that ends up being feasible, depending on how much I get done today and how much we get tonight. I'm also going to talk to the guys. We have a command staff meeting tonight, or not tonight. Sorry. On Saturday, and I want to talk to them about doing some gaming nights. Something that we talked a lot about before. And picking a time that I would like us to do Um, Helldivers. Ah, fuck. Nip myself again. I feel a lot of really good energy coming for this year. Like a lot of our tower members are really excited to like get up and going. So this might turn out to be a really, really good year, depending on how much we keep this energy. Out of stainless steel. Kelver, a little bit of a heart-to-heart. I know you really like heavy stuff, but there is a certain point to where your armor is going to be just too heavy that you don't want to wear it. And I get it, it's like a training armor and stuff like that, but oh my god, swinging around bracers of stainless steel, especially, I think you settled on 8-in-1s or 6-in-1s? Oh, that's gonna fucking hurt. I know you know that. I know, it's not like you're new to the whole, oh my god, armor's heavy thing, but I am concerned. Because in my opinion, the best armor is the armor that you're going to wear. And it's really nice to have heavy stuff, but if you're not going to be out there in battle games with it, then what was the point of the armor in the first place? Pain is the way, okay. Well, I ain't gonna tell you no, especially since you're paying with it with your own money. The armor is the friends we made along the way. I do have to say that just recently I got the ability to wear the some of our armor again. And I don't know if I'm just getting stronger or if my fat body is getting used to my fat weight. But like, it wasn't as heavy as I remember it being, and I was able to almost go the entire day while wearing armor. Which is interesting, because if you want me to have better armor, make it. Yeah, well, I'm not arguing your methods. I'm not arguing your methods. Help bring, yep. All right, I can see where you're coming from. Oh, god damn it. I keep forgetting this whole fucking entire time. Ugh. I was supposed to buy that part for Azula. I want to implement what we have been very nicely calling mech suits. And Albert has not been very receptive to that because he had some experience in the past of people who want mech suits. But, we have been, for the longest time, making armor pieces separate. For example, like our leg plates to our thigh plates to our arm plates and elbow shoulder plates and the gun plates. All that stuff has kind of just been separate. Making separate pieces that we have to strap on individually. You would have to reinforce the edges or stitch it down onto some leather for it to be good. Long story short, for that to work. But if you want standalone like plate, like chain bracers, you need to do a 6 or 8 in 1 because it needs that stiffness to it. But what I've been wanting to do for our armor for a while is take all those individual pieces and rig it to a leather harness. That way, in order to have armor, instead of putting on the bracers, the gun, the pauldron, it's all one piece. So you slide it in there, you strap, and it's stuck to your arm from all these attach points, not this individually, this individually, this individually. So that would be part 1 of mech suit. Part 2 of mech suit would be like the leg, where we have the signete, which is the calf armor, and then you have the haidate, which is the thigh armor. Putting those on separately, attaching or putting a rig between them so that they attach to each other and also keep to yourself like that. So mech armor in that case, there's a whole leg sleeve you just put on. And then attaching that to your haidate and your do, the chest piece, to basically be a suit of armor that you put on your chest and then you strap it to your legs and you're wearing a suit of armor. So in that case, it would be like mechanizing our armor process. Because the biggest problem with our armor right now is that they're so separate that you strap the braces on by themselves and then they're stuck there and that's it. But being that shit gets loose and then it falls down and then you get all bunched up or comes up or does something. But if you have it attached to this point, attached to this point, attached to this point, attached to this point, then you can kind of have it be on there loosely, but also being supported by the leather straps that are keeping it on you. But if you have that bracer attached to an arm piece, then I don't think it needs to be nearly as heavy. In order to keep on. I'll call it the Samus Project. I call it the TBD M1 Kelver. I was, that's just for you. I'm not, yeah. We already called enough stuff after you, Kelver. We don't need to have even more stuff here. I was also tooling around with the idea of starting up chain again. I fucking hate chain so much. I've done my time in the mines. But, like, people are really interested in it. And, my, what was I going to say? Oh. My idea that we still need to test chain to make sure that all of the kinks out of our armor system is done. I still want to do that. Because we haven't had a good formal like testing of how chain actually works, because I never thought that anybody would actually want to have chain. Almost had me, almost. We're There's a lot of talk recently about, and Scale Mail is one of my, like, Holy Grail projects. And I saw online something that just almost fit exactly what I needed, and at a reasonable price, too. And that almost had me, too. That almost had me, too, getting right into the armor. Yes, Screetoff just bought a bunch of rings. I like the idea of chain as accents or as connectors. I like the idea of chain as I have these plates attached to me and I have gaps in my armor, and staying in the 20%, 80% rule to have that chain be the plates between those armors. I like that. I love that idea. And I think at the end of the day, whenever I have my armor, that's what I'll have. I'll have a mixture of plates and chain, with all of it being under the 10%, 20%, or the 20%, 80% rule. But making like entire large pieces of armor and chain anymore, I don't know if I have the patience for that anymore. But then again, here I am sanding dice. What's the difference between this and making chainmail? The difference in my mind is I could be making plate armor, and it's just that much better. That the time should be used to make plate instead. And I honestly think that's what the natural use for chain in our group would be. Is it would be used for accents and filling gaps. I think 6-in-1 considering the density of the weight should be counted as plate. If you are willing to put 150% weight on a different, you should be rewarded. It's just my take. I'm trying to make that in the law. From what I saw, each is just a lot because of the weight. I would actually consider testing that. Like making a sacrificial plate piece and making a sacrificial 6-in-1 into it. Oh, fuck, I just nipped myself again. God damn it. Fire some arrows into it, stab it a bunch. And see if that's the truth. But I think the problem again that I have with plate versus absolutely with 4-in-1 riveted. The only thing that stops me from considering that, at least right now, without doing a little bit of a testing on it, is hammer resistance, like blunt force resistance. Because 6-in-1 still buckles under like blunt force, and plate does not. But that is two different ways of looking at the armor. One is doing it by the physical attributes, the other one is doing it by weight. So it's definitely a debate on which one would be more which one would actually be more true. At the same time, though, I wouldn't be concerned too much about it, because how many people have 6-in-1? So let's take like a helmet, for instance. Like you have a helmet of plate, and then you have a helmet of 6-in-1 rings, and someone brings a hammer down on your head. You know, I have a very likely feeling that you might survive the hammer with the plate, but you will not survive it with that 6-in-1. Or like I have a plate forearm of it right there. And someone hits it with like a blunt force object with plate, it's going to hurt, and depending on the harm, it might break my arm. But if you have a flexible piece of armor right there, it's definitely going to do that. So is it really offering the same level of protection? That plate armor is. Yes, yes. So you might survive, and I would say with that plate helmet, you might survive. You're definitely going to have damage underneath it, but you pretty much, I think you'll pretty much survive. A couple of weeks of bed rest to be out on the field again. With a 6-in-1 head piece, you're not going to survive that. But something I do want to point out is in the Dagger Here, like, game, when we're talking about new things, we have 3 considerations in mind. And it goes in this order: safety, playability, safety, playability, safety, playability, realism. So it goes in that order. So is it going to violate safety? No, it's not going to violate safety. Playability, that's where we're arguing. And then realism comes into that as well at the very end. So I don't think... Ring the helmet like a bullet, see how well you fight after that. Yes, yes. I'm talking about survivability. I'm not talking about, well, fuck. Nipped myself again. I'm talking survivability. I'm not talking about, are you going to be okay to fight afterwards? So I don't think we have a safety problem with doing that. I don't think we have a playability problem with doing that. And now I think it comes down to realism. Yes, so I think it's a little less complicated to gauge for playability. I think it has the thought that it's going to complicate the rules a lot. And I'm not talking about just the 6-in-1 being plate. I'm talking about like us digging out rules for every edge case into our armor, and then we have to teach that to people. I know. I'm not arguing like you're arguing for it. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you my thought process, because what else are we gonna do? We're sitting here talking while I'm sanding dice. Let's see what this looks like so far. Yeah. But I think it would be problematic only in the sense that... God damn it. In the sense that now we're opening up the Pandora's box to carve up for additional minor rules here and there and just make things complicated. Which is the reason why, you know, the Dagger Hero rule set is as simple as it is. Because they're so afraid of making it more complicated that it's just... The game is just not... God damn it. Okay. Handfuls, you win. It's just not rewarding people in the way that it should because they're so afraid of it being complicated. Which, sure, that's fine. That's a noble goal. But we need to have a little bit of complication for this game to actually be nice. Which is why we've been thinking a lot about ways to improve the game, ways to do things differently, and... I think I can get those in there too. I think for the maiden voyage being half full might be good. Hold on a second, I gotta use the restroom real quick. Uh... I was listening to you guys while I walked the dog and took a longer route than normal and saw a very strange thing. There were squashed lemons all up and down the extra route that I took, which was strange, and I thought to myself, is this the same thing as egging cars? Did someone throw lemons at it? I have no idea. That's my Apris. Always thinking about ground lemons. Yay! Ground lemon and sandwich night tonight. Ground lemon and sandwich night tonight. Yay! Fucking balls are getting everywhere. Yeah, I think that's good. Use the rest of this for something else. Yeah, let's try this. Okay. Let's see if I have any more polish. Ground lemons, yay! Man, that's loud as fuck. I'm gonna move it into the back. All right, so there's that. I'm going to get these guys going. I'm out of... If I'm out of it, then that pisses me off, because then I could have ordered some and got some in here. But what I'll do is send these guys here, slip the course here, put them in the tumbler, which I have over here. And then I'll stand the rest of these guys and I'll see what I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I don't have any more. So what I should do There it is. That simple. And then I want to add, well, I use a lot of this stuff, so okay, that is the biggest I didn't get it for. Then what I would need see if I can find a... epoxy. I mean, that would be a cool way of doing it, but I don't want to do it that way. Nah. Oh well. Oh wait, I need to... Okay. Now let's get back to it, guys. We got even more stuff to sand. Like I said, today is going to be a sanding day. hate sending D20s. It takes so much nuance. You know, we're watching Fallout, right? Apris and I were watching the Fallout series, which, oh, what? Kelver, I didn't even see you talking. I would 100% agree. 4-in-1 is much easier to work with, although I do want to point out that that doesn't mean that 4-in-1 is better. Any chain work is the devil. Any chain work is the devil. Are you making chain right now, Kelver? Or are you remembering the past mistakes? There we go. Often between working. Yep. Thus is the chain's way. Thus is the way of chain. corrected the grain on my shirt to just have some more work on the shoulder's back. I want to use it this season. So we got 2 more weeks, I think, until the season opener. Yeah, 2 more weeks. So you got plenty of time. I'm currently 2 weapon tests away from the next Charles, so I gotta get good. I get ya, I get ya. Wish everybody had that motivation. Back in the old days, did you guys need to cut your own steel rings for chainmail? We didn't need to, but we decided it was the most economical. And that wasn't really back in the day either. It was something we did recently. You know, recently in the name of an organization that's been around for, you know, as long as we have, but still it's been recently. You're not misremembering. We had setups to roll our own chainmail out of galvanized steel, because that's the easiest wire for us to get. And I remember that I fucking hate cutting steel rings. If we were doing, never again, yep. If we were doing, like, it in bulk again, then we would go back to that, and then I would buy convenience tools. So we would get a, either a mechanical clipper, like something like this, but hydraulic, or we can get a saw that we just feed it in there and it cuts it through. I wouldn't force anybody to be doing that again. I would definitely do a hydraulic clipper. We don't have to do that shit ever again. Fucking awful. Yep. Yeah, we ended up rolling like 6 or 8 miles of that bullshit. But getting the rings by themselves is still pretty cheap and easy to do. It would definitely reduce the cost of your stuff by hundreds of dollars if you rolled it yourself.
But at a certain point, that $100 is it's probably worth the effort. Yep, absolutely. Like I said, we would do a hydraulic cut, a hydraulic snipper, or we would do a saw. It would not be. And again, that would be only if somebody convinced me to start mass producing chainmail again, and there's just no way that I would do that. Even for my project, like my armor project that I want to do, the plate between chain, or the chain between plates, would require a lot less than I would need to actually do that way. It's because I took my thing off and I forgot to put it back on to start talking again. What I was saying is that the only way we would start coiling again is if someone had convinced me that we're going to mass produce it again. But even for my idea of what I want to do for armor, the plate on chain, or the chain between plates, I don't need a lot of them, a couple hundred rings at most. So that's not something that I want to do. Even if someone suggested making a chain shirt, I would say you gotta go buy the rings. So it would be a mass-produced Kuroheim effort for us to start rolling chain again. And as I'd mentioned before, the only way I would ever do that is if we got a pneumatic cutting device, a hydraulic cutting device, or a saw to do it. You hate chain so much. Why did you teach me? Well, because why wouldn't I teach people something they want to know? You're the one that's doing the work. I'm not the one that has half-open jump rings like sitting around in my private spaces. So if you wanted to do it, I wouldn't stop you from doing it. Just if we were to do it as a full-on effort as Kuroheim, then it would take a lot of convincing to do. And it's not even that I hate chain. I can't sit there and say that I hate chain. What I do hate is making it. And like the effort and pain it is to do it, to which you could just pound out some plates, paint them, and lace them together, and you got superior protection at like a third of the work. So I don't hate it. It's just infeasible in my mind. I don't hate chainmail. I hate the work that goes into it in
in relation to something else that we could be doing different. Also, I would have to say that there's probably some past trauma for it too. 16-hour chain days, are not normally the most fun.
Sounds good. If you guys thought that I was done with sanding today, before we do
pull these guys out of their molds so we can finish these and put them away for now. Then we will get to ending these guys.
There we go. Now we're back to it. Okay. Two back in here. Out of my way. There. And let's pull these apart. Start with this guy. Yep, looks good. Yeah. Oh, that one I didn't realize had silver in it. Could have probably added a little more silver. Ooh. That's shattered. Salvageable, yeah. Just needs repairs. Yeah. So we're watching Fallout, right? And I'm enjoying the show for the most part. I don't have any of the attachments that people have to the franchise. So I'm not one of those, I get real pissed off when somebody attempts to make something analogous to my my chosen franchises. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm kind of just worried about the poor writing in it. It's entertaining. It's fun. It has caught me off guard a few times, so I think, honestly, it's worth the watch. Don't have any Silverflake in it. Weird. It's honestly worth the watch, but, like, spoilers if you wanted to watch it and you haven't got to it yet. Because this is concerning an episode that just happened. So, the main Vault character finally catches up to the main antagonist of this part of the series. And she's like, I'm here to take you to Vault Justice. I'm taking you to Vault 33 to face justice for your brutal massacre of Shady Sands. And she does. The dude, she takes him into custody and starts leading him out of whatever facility that they're at. I'm being intentionally vague. Because again, just because I'm spoiling it doesn't mean I have to tell you all the details about it. Just irrelevant to the story that I'm telling right now. And she comes out to like the main work area where all the worker drones are at. And they seem to be like... They're okay. They're like normal, just office people or whatever that got transferred from the Raiders that they used to be, or the different factions or whatever they used to be. And they get into a dilemma, which she has to choose between, like, is her dad right or wrong? In what's happening in this facility. Well, antics ensue, and eventually she chooses that, you know, whatever he's doing right now is good, and she kind of under duress falls into that side as well. Now, I don't know what's going to happen afterwards, because that was kind of the end of that part of the story arc for that episode. But if I know anything about these stories, you know, she's going to get into an ethical dilemma about, well, is he actually right in doing this? Is he not right in doing this? Or is it okay to take away free will? Is it okay to do this, that, the other thing? And is probably, considering I know these storylines well enough, probably going to choose to not take her father in to custody to answer for the crimes of Shady Sands. Because whatever he's doing to the wasteland is right. Or like an ethical way of doing it, or whatever. Essentially taking away their free will so they stop fighting each other. Which has its own, you know, ups and downs. But anyways, so I think that's probably what's going to happen. Is that she's going to decide, oh no, you're not doing anything bad, thus I'm going to let you go, but then I'm going to fight you in the future for actually realizing what you're doing is wrong, and blah, 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 blah. My question is that if this episode or this storyline turns out exactly what I am thinking it's going to do, which I don't think it's not going to, why does that stop her from taking him in to custody in the first place? And facing justice for what he did at Shady Sands. Because what he is doing now has nothing to do with the fact that he did what he did to a whole entire city. Saying his future actions. Yes, dramatic cinematic effect. But it would be different if, like, they found out that Shady Sands was doing something like diabolical like everybody else, like they were planning raids on vaults or whatever. And if that's the case, and for your survival, doing what you have to do is doing what you have to do. But it's not like that at all. But now we're weighing his past decisions on what is good or not good in the present, and that is not how your justice should work. Again, this is predicated on the fact that I think that they're going to, or she's going to decide, oh, well, he's not doing anything bad now, so we're going to let him go. Despite the fact that you absolutely should arrest him and take him to trial, because regardless of what he's doing now, you still ended up doing what you did to that city or that town or whatever. So I feel like that's bad writing. I feel like that's bad storytelling. And I feel that's putting out a really bad message that it's okay to do terrible things as long as whatever you're doing now is not terrible. So what would have to happen for me to be okay with this is her being like, well, okay, that's fine. You know, You're doing good now, and these people aren't killing each other, but I'm still taking you to trial for your part in massacring a whole entire fucking city, town, whatever. And if they do that, then I'm going to write off the whole entire Fallout series as just bad writing and just enjoy it for what it is, which is just bad writing. But still, cinematically, it's good. In acting, they're doing really good. It's the weakness of every single thing ever. It's just terrible writing. Now, if you want to impress me, then let her have that cognitive development and state, okay, yeah, that's cool. Fine, we won't free all of your little slaves or whatever, but you're still going to justice for what you did to the people of Shady Sands. Like, that's still going to happen. But because it's framed in the debate of the past versus the present, I feel like bad writing is going to win out. It would be like if a Nazi war criminal back in the 40s never faced the Nuremberg trials. You know, they moved off to Argentina where they all moved to, and then he like helped build society or whatever in that area. It's like, yeah, that's good that you did that, but like you still have to answer for your crimes of the past. Just because you're doing good now doesn't mean that excuses what happened in the past. So come on, Fallout, impress me. impress me. Make sure I'm wrong in this one, because I really, really, really think that if you're going the way I think you're going to go, you are setting a very wrong message. It's just something that bothered me. Not that it matters, because it's a TV show. Oh yeah, that's also something. No, I figured as much. They were just waiting to do that one for whatever reason. I didn't think they forgot about them. I just thought it was weird that that whole episode didn't have any of them in there. I also saw some game spoiler theories on one of the main characters and what happened to him in this episode in terms of radioactive cores. I don't know enough about the Fallout series to answer that one, but I know who you're talking about because it could only have been one person. I've been incredibly tempted to look up things, but now that we're, yeah, see if that's true. We'll see if, I lost my train of thought. Oh well. Oh yeah. I was so tempted to look things up online and like get spoilers and things, but we're already caught up, so I can't do that now. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're good. So we'll see. There. Hmm. I think after I cut these guys, I might end stream early just to start cleanup on everything, and then Apris, when you get here, you get here. Because there's no fun in watching me just clean. Especially if I'm going to be off the screen for most of the time. Fuck, 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 fuck. Ouch. Nah, especially if it's only going to get me like 20 minutes before I have to end stream anyways. And whenever you decide to get here, Apris, the heck? Oh, fuck me. Alright, well, see if we can fix that. Cool. Into that. There we go. Perfecto. All right. Check my email real quick. Actually, check my. Oh, wrong one. Today. Okay. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. I'm going to close down, turn on the lights, start cleaning up, and we'll get ready for my inspection for tomorrow, obviously. Also, my inspection for tomorrow, obviously, but then also the command staff meeting for Saturday. Yay! So, that's it. See you guys tomorrow.